Hey y'all, I'm Tammy, and this is Collard Valley Cooks. And today we're making a cheesy scallop potato recipe. It is not in the cookbook, but you can print it from the website, and it is good with any holiday meal. So we're going to have it this Easter. You can find this recipe on the website under Southern Sides. And I need to put it under casseroles as well in case you guys want to look under the casseroles. You're going to start with 5 medium potatoes. Now this recipe is not in our cookbooks, but you can print it out from the website. So I got out my knife sharpener and I sharpened my knife before I got started. And I have got 5 medium potatoes. And I'm going to get these peeled. First I'm going to rinse these off. And I'm going to slice them with my paring knife. Now you can put them on the cutting board and slice them on the cutting board if you want to. But these have a lot of starch in them. And whenever I use a knife like that, it just wants to stick to them. And then it's just harder to me to do it that way. So we're just going to slice them in round slices like this. We're going to get them on the stove and cook them until they're fork tender. It should take about, I think, 8 minutes or so. So we're just going to cover them in water. Then we're going to make a cheese sauce while they cook because they'll be ready in 8 minutes. And that's just enough time to give us time to make the cheese sauce so that we can pour it over them when they're done. So you can kind of see about how wide they are. And if you've got a mandolin, you can use it. But most of the mandolins that do slices like this, to me, are too thin. Now today we're all getting together and we're having our Easter dinner. And instead of potato salad like I normally make to go with the ham, I'm making these because it's been a while since I made them for y'all, and I wanted y'all to see the video. They are so good and cheesy, and you're going to love them. All right, I just got a new set of these gloves in the mail yesterday because I don't know what happened to mine, but these gloves keep you from getting cut. And so if you're worried about getting cut and you've never used a paring knife, the way I like to use mine, practice with one of these gloves on so that you don't have to worry about getting cut. I mean, I've been doing this since I was old enough to cook. I started doing this probably when I was 12 or 13. And so it never bothers me at all. And if you do use a mandolin, absolutely wear a pair of these. They're economical. They're on the website. If you go to our website, you go to Shop Kitchen and click the must-haves category. And I believe I also have them under utensils. And the picture is it with a chef's knife like this. And it keeps you from getting cut, and it really works well, and you can throw it in the wash machine. So they're good to have. I like to use mine mostly when I am making coleslaw, and I'm using the old-fashioned grater. And that way I can get every little piece of the cabbage down on that blade without having to cut my fingers. I like it. Now we're just going to cover them with water. And I'm not going to rinse the starch off of them. I mean, if you want to, you can, but I don't think I have to. So I'm not going to. And you're going to cover them good, about like that. And get them on the stove. I'm going to put a lid on them until they start to boil. And then we're going to time them once they start boiling. Now, while that is cooking and getting hot, we're going to make our cheese sauce. We're going to start. Let me wipe off my counter because I have the potatoes on it. And I'm not real sure which dish I'm going to use to put these in. I'm not going to know until I see about how much I've got. And we're going to shred some cheese, but I'm going to, right quick, mince an onion. You're supposed to put minced onion, and mince means it's little bitty pieces. So we're going to go down through here and slice this up little. And it says a 1/4 cup, and I think this will be about as much as we need. You stay in there. There you go. And I sharpened this before I started as well. There you have it, minced onion. Go through it one more time, just in case. We're going to put that in the cheese sauce. That'll be good. Add some flavor to these potatoes. Alrighty. Now we're going to grate some cheese. It says 1.5 cups, but I may use this whole block. Probably will. Don't get too fast or it gets clogged. It's so tempted to go real fast. Tempting, I mean. Get it in there really quick. But if you do, it does get stuck in there. And try your best to grate your cheese while it's cold. Don't let it sit out at room temperature too long before you grate it. When you're making a cheese sauce, it's so much better to use. All right, now I'm down to the wire. Let me put my glove on. It's so much better to use cheese that you grate yourself when you're making a cheese sauce, because the grated cheese that comes grated has a lot of chemicals and stuff on it to keep it from sticking together, and it really does make your sauce less creamy. And this is Kraft cheddar cheese. Just mild cheddar is what I'm using. You can use any kind of cheese you want, but for potatoes, I think mild cheddar is good. So we're going to use all that cheese. We sure are. It's going to be delicious. All right, Chris says he didn't have the microphone on. I'm sorry about that, y'all. But now we have it on. So my voice will be a little better at this point. We do get some echoing in the background. I can help it with some editing software. But come on over here and we're going to make our cheese sauce right quick. You're going to start with 2 tablespoons of butter in a saucepan. I don't tell you to put the onion in this butter, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. So we're going to add these minced onion to this, and that way they'll get a little sauteed and soft instead of being put in there raw. And you could do it either way. In the recipe, I just tell you to put them in raw. It would have a stronger flavor if you did that of onion. But today we're going to throw them in here with this butter and add them to the gravy and cheese sauce. So we're going to grab our minced onion. Say we definitely got a 1/4 cup, a little more than a 1/4 cup. More the merrier. Okay. And let's see, you got 2 tablespoons of flour and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt and a 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. We're going to add the salt and pepper. And salt. And flour. 2 tablespoons of flour. Now then, now you're just going to cook that until the flour gets brown. Really, I should be using my gravy whisk. Turn it up a little bit. All right. These have started to boil, it sounds like to me. Oh, yeah. I'm going to put the timer on 7 minutes for these. Turn them down a little bit. You don't want to overcook your potatoes, but I will say don't undercook them either because they're not going to cook in the oven. So make sure your potatoes are fork tender before you take them. I'd rather them be overcooked than undercooked. This is a recipe I printed out on the computer. It's a whole sheet of paper, but I folded it up. And that's how they look if you do go on the website and click the tabs down at the bottom for the recipes. It'll pull it up in a PDF format and you can print it. Or just look at it on your phone, however you want to do it. We're going to let this get a little bit brown before we add our milk. We're going to be adding 1 3/4 cups of milk. I've got my bowl of butter beans sitting here because we're making butter beans in the back here. So we got some butter beans going back there. I love butter beans. They're my favorite dried bean. Oh, I love them. So all there is to this is browning this some, then adding the milk and the cheese. Simple dimple. All right. I think that's getting a little bit brown. So we're going to add our milk. To it. And I'm going to stir this good before I add my cheese. You're just going to save enough cheese to go on the top of the casserole. The rest is going in here. So it's supposed to be a cup in here and a half cup on top, but we're using this whole 8 ounces today. So I think that'll be enough for the top. Okay. Now you can see we got a timer going over there for the potatoes. You want to make sure and time your potatoes so that they don't get overdone. Getting close, but you want to make sure they're done. Okay, I think my timer's going to be perfect. It says 3 minutes left, and this cheese sauce is ready. We're going to turn it off. Looks delish. Looks good. Now we're going to spray our casserole dish. And you can whisk this good if you want to. Make sure it's creamy. I love my gravy whisk. It's the best. All right, we're going to spray this with some oil. This is olive oil, just for easy cleanup. And all we got to do is throw our potatoes in there, throw that cheese on top of them, mix them a little bit so that they got plenty of cheese on them. And then we'll put the cheese on the top and put it in the oven. That's all there is to it. You're going to bake it about 30 minutes at 350 degrees. I think they're ready. All right, we're going to drain these in the sink, and I'm just going to use this. Silicone strainer. Works good. Going to pour them in your dish. If you've ever made scalloped potatoes, you know you should really cook them first, because if you don't, it would take them forever to get done in a stove. All right, let me get me a spatula and get everything in there. cheesy scallop potatoes. Now, I've been told that that's not the correct name for this kind of potato. I forget what they say. They say scallop potatoes don't have cheese, and the ones with cheese is named something else. But y'all,
au gratin.
Yes, au gratin. And when we grew up, we called this scallop potatoes. That's what we called it. So that's what I called it. So that's what it is to us. Because if we go to this much trouble for potatoes, we'd always put some cheese in them. Wouldn't just have it with milk. That would be stewed potatoes for us. All right. That looks delicious. We're going to slide it in the oven. All you got to do is cook it until it's bubbly, and that's ready to serve. This is a simple, delicious meal. And remember, don't turn up that oven too high when you're using glass, okay? Anytime you put glass or ceramic in the oven, there's a temperature height you're not supposed to go over or it could break. And so try not to get the temperature over 400. I think it's more like 375. All right, we'll see you in a few minutes. All right, y'all, we're having a meal tonight, and we're having our Easter early. So we're going to have these scalloped potatoes, and they're coming out of the oven, and they're going to be so good. We're going to have green beans. We're going to have butter beans and ham, of course, rolls. All right, y'all, I cooked these a long time. So I left them in there a lot longer than 30 minutes, and they are toasty, toasty, toasty. But when I see scalloped potatoes, that's kind of like what I want. If you want them less toasty, then you just won't cook them as long as I did. But you can tell that they are nice and delicious. I like them like this. This is how I like them. All right, we're going to give them a try. Now that's a delicious cheesy potato. Tastes delicious. I hope y'all have enjoyed watching us today. We appreciate you watching Collard Valley Cooks and hope you enjoy some delicious cheesy potatoes. Scallop potatoes is what we call them. We'll see you next time. Love ya.